With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Live from iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway, welcome sim racing fans to the Cross Series League Racing NASCAR Next Gen portion of the calendar, the final race of the Asphalt Oval category from the virtual Daytona International Speedway, presented by Tamalpais Tanning, live on Apex Racing TV, with race control provided by 24/7 Race Control. Happy that all of you are along for the ride with us here on this beautiful Sunday evening, wherever you're tuning in around the world. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Tyler Newitt with Marco Barbonera down in the virtual production trailer. And Tyler, the points really go in the favor of Adam Thompson for the moment. Schwenkler, Anderson, Molyneux, and Ross trying to play catch up there, but Anderson and Schwenkler are close together. Schwenkler has a big gap to catch up to Adam Thompson, and closing in that gap starts tonight here from Daytona.
Absolutely. It was a strong performance from Adam Thompson, a statement performance, you might say, at Indy. It looked a few times like it might be going away from him, but he made the comeback on the final restart, grabbed the win and maximum points, and he's really showing his strength here in the paved oval portion of the Cross Series League Racing. So, yeah, it's going to be a tall order for anyone to unseat Adam.
Yeah, and the fact that we're going to the Daytona International Speedway to round things out. You can remember back to the iRacing Super Speedway and the Talladega Super Speedway to open the Asphalt Oval portion of the calendar. Then we transitioned over to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot different than both Talladega and Daytona, but still some exciting racing that we saw from a lot of these drivers. But now back at a restrictor plate track of the Daytona International Speedway. Similar racing to what we saw at Talladega, but of course the differences between Daytona and Talladega, even though they're both restrictor plate or pack racing tracks, there is a lot of differences in between Talladega and Daytona. Most notably, Daytona a lot thinner, as well as the start-finish line being right in the middle of the tri-oval instead of off to one side.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that that would make all that much difference. You know, these drivers, they're flat out all the way around the plate tracks, but it really does. It's something that you feel the pinch point coming out of the corners at Daytona. The track really tightens up, whereas Talladega's, might as well be 18 lanes from the bottom to the top. Daytona is absolutely not. So definitely more potential for some carnage here. If these drivers get 3 wide or 4 wide, that tight track can really throw some havoc. We've got qualifying going on right now. We're looking at Scott Benavides in the number 82 Ford. Nobody's put a lap time in yet, but as soon as they do, we'll start seeing who is going to be quick this time out. You have to believe that guy right there, Adam Thompson, is going to be near the front.
Thompson getting ready for his first flying lap as Kevin Irwin is the first driver to put in a time, 49.59. James Keir up to the top, 47.73, not for long. Bobby Ross, who had a great effort at Indianapolis 1 week ago, goes to the top spot. Ashley Molyneux now. James Truitt moves up into P3. We take a look on board with Kevin Irwin as he tries to put a good time up on the board. His first time of 49.59, definitely not what he was looking for. He's currently ranked P9 as Tyler Coates goes up to P2.
Yeah, we'll probably see some drivers running the high line on lap 1 and the low line on lap 2 to try and build that momentum, build that speed up. But 2 seconds is pretty far off for Kevin Irwin. He's really going to need to find something here if he is going to put in a competitive time. And that's not going to cut it. 49.3. He's still bottom of the order. This guy, though, Adam Thompson, yet to set a time. Look for him to go up near the top and just as he is doing on the racetrack, running that high line. This is his first flyer, so this might not put him towards the front of the order, but expect him to jump that way with his second lap. And with everybody else about done, I think we're going to keep an eye on Adam.
Thompson comes across the line. It's only going to be P7, but that was the warm-up lap. Here's the lap with all the momentum, and the lap that you really need to be watching goes right down to the bottom of the racetrack, running right against that double yellow line. Alex Anderson hops up into P6. Trevor Anderson falls to P9, back up to P7. The Andersons now are together 6th and 7th on the racetrack in terms of the timing. Now here comes Adam Thompson through turns 3 and 4. Let's see what the winner from Indianapolis and the iRacing Super Speedway can do as he exits the final corner, trying to go for home on the start-finish line. Will it be enough to take the pole here at the World Center of Racing? It will not be enough, and by only, I believe, a 1/1000th of a second, or a few 1,000ths of a second. Thompson's going to be starting outside of the front row.
And that could likely mean back-to-back pole positions for Bobby Ross. We mentioned it's been a bit of an up-and-down season for Bobby, and had the chance to potentially score a win at Indy from the pole. Didn't end up securing it with the late race yellows, but another strong qualifying effort from Bobby Ross. Looking forward to seeing him back at the front here at Daytona.
And you gotta remember for Bobby Ross as well, that finish at Indianapolis was still 2nd place, which was his best finish of the season. His previous best was a 3rd place at Monza. So a great run at Indianapolis, for Bobby Ross. Gonna look for some of that same effort and some of that same results here from the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. Time to take a look at the starting grid as we get ready to go racing in the final asphalt oval race on the calendar. And walking away with that pole position will be the West Palm Beach native and the number 33, Bobby Ross, with Adam Thompson to the outside in the 244. Tyler Coates in P3, Ashley Molyneux P4, with James Truitt rounding out your top 5. James Keir, Alex Anderson, Trevor Anderson, Chet Duranic, and Scott Benavidez round out your top 10. Mike Sorum, Kevin Irwin, and Jaden Darling is going to round out the entire field of drivers. 13 cars strong as we get ready to go racing here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Everybody takes to the grid on the pit lane. And as they do so, we would like a moment of remembrance here at Cross Series League Racing live on Apex Racing TV. Unfortunately, William Paul Miller, James Truitt's uncle, passed away last week. And you can see his image up on the screen. We wish him the best as he rests easy now. The Cowboy Cadillac, William Paul Miller. We mourn his loss, and James Truitt undoubtedly is going to be racing for him tonight, starting from P5. We wish his family the best, prayers for them, and we pay tribute to William Paul Miller. Well, the field now taking to the high banks of the Daytona International Speedway. And Tyler, this race is going to be challenging for a lot of the drivers in this field, most notably because you can remember back to the iRacing Super Speedway, race incredibly different to either Talladega or Daytona. We went caution-free there, saw a good bit of cautions, especially towards the end of the race at Talladega. Then now, as we come to Daytona, more like Talladega, but I also think we're going to see a bit of different racing here. So a lot of unknowns as we get ready to go racing, but undoubtedly the best when it comes to the drafting has been Adam Thompson, as he got a first place at iRacing Super Speedway and a second place at Talladega.
Yeah, it's you know, it's always a bit of a lottery coming to the super speedways, but Adam Thompson has played his hand well. If you'll allow me to mix my metaphors there, but it's certainly up in the air, and if anything were to challenge Thompson's championship hopes, it would be an accident at a track like Daytona, like the super speedways. So far, it's been all clean sailing for Adam, but we'll have to see. Anything can happen, of course, but what he's got to do, and what I'd expect him to attempt to do, is get a great jump and try and get in line first or second ahead of the chasing horde.
13 cars strong. For the last time this season, we're about to send the NASCAR Next Gens into green flag. It's time to go racing from the world center of racing. We're racing from Daytona.
And it's an even start, about 4 rows back, side by side. That is back to 9th place, Chet Duranek there. The high line wobbling around a little bit. That looked like, I think it was Ashley Molyneux who's in behind Adam Thompson. Had a pretty big wiggle there through turn number 2, but they get it sorted. Now Molyneux's dropping a few spots, shuffled into the middle of that pack. That's not where you want to be early on without any help.
3 wide there for a moment as Molyneux fell through the middle of the field. They go back to 2 wide. Here's Adam Thompson at the front, trying to now regain that lead after he was able to get it, albeit for a moment on this initial start. Bobby Ross on the inside, trying to defend down there. 3 cars strong on the inside, 5 cars strong on the outside, make it 4 and 4 as they have to almost get contact. They settle it back out, still 3 wide as James Truitt goes to the middle in the number 5. Everybody moving around here as they go 200 plus miles an hour in the next gen cars down the back straightaway into 3.
Really, really impressive save by Bobby Ross. He could have caused a massive accident there. Not his fault, of course. It was, I believe, James Keir on the outside line who had a wiggle, came down into Bobby Ross, sent Bobby onto the apron, but Bobby did well to collect it up. You can see the scrapes down the right side of Bobby's car from where Keir hit him. That was well held on Bobby Ross's part, but now he's on a recovery drive to get back to the front of this pack, having been sent back from a fight for the lead to a fight for fourth. He'll try and work his way forward now.
3 cars pulling away now at the front with Thompson, Molyneux, and Anderson. 3 cars left on an outside line that has now fallen back, led by Bobby Ross. James Truitt is in there as well with, I believe, Trevor Anderson, or Tyler Coates at the tail end of that one. Anderson running on the inside. We go from 3 cars at the front now to 4 as Keir joins the party. And everybody now going to move down to the bottom of the racetrack as Coates, the tail end of that outside line, now becomes the tail end of the inside line. And it looks like an issue for Jaden Darling, tail end of the field now. You just pull off the racetrack here, Tyler. It looks like he might have been having a hardware issue or something of that nature. Pulls off the racetrack, tows it into the pit lane, and he is out of this race.
Yeah, Jaden didn't set a qualifying time, so evidently some sort of lingering technical issue there. He was some 5 seconds off of the race lead early on in the race, and yeah, just pulled off there. That's a tough break, but obviously he will hopefully be back next time, and we'll see him there. But that top front pack has formed back up into a 7-car train. They have, I think, shed Tyler Coates off the back. I don't know if Tyler had a moment or something, but he's no longer attached to that pack, so he'll want to get caught back up, or he'll be hoping for a yellow because that's his only chance at this point. Chet Duranek, Scott Benavides in a pack of their own, about 5 seconds off of the race lead, so maybe Coates will join up with them, but you certainly don't want to be on your own out there at these super speedways. It's pretty much a death sentence in terms of your chances for a race win.
Still in the early stages of this one as well, and as we work through this race, like we have seen with the iRacing Super Speedway, like we have seen at Talladega, things will mature and things are going to change. As a pit stop is on the horizon for these guys, but and they are having trouble keeping it in a line. And we saw this a little bit at Talladega. I think the iRacing Super Speedway is where we didn't see much of it, but we're seeing it here again at Daytona. The runs these next-gen cars are able to get on the car in front. We saw it in Indianapolis a lot. It looked a lot like Indy cars to where they can get a slipstream down these straightaways and make a move into the corner. That's great on intermediates, great on non-drafting tracks, but here at Daytona, not going to help you too much, especially if you're trying to stay in a line. They just keep getting runs to the driver in front, nowhere to take them, having to get out of the gas causes a little bit of squirreliness throughout that line.
And the big thing we've seen at iRacing Super Speedway and at Talladega is the top two getting lined up. And if the top two get formed up well, there's really not much you can do. And it seems, at least until now, that Ashley Molyneux is very content to ride in behind Adam Thompson, and why wouldn't she be? You want to talk about someone with proven success to follow. Adam Thompson has been at the front in all of these races on the paved ovals, so it's probably best for Ashley Molyneux just to sit in there, because unless somebody gets her loose and drops her back in the pack, there's not much they can do to break up that two-car group at the front leading this race.
Goes across the line, and you can see just how Ashley Molyneux gets a run every once in a while, tries to take it to the outside. Same thing with the 88 James Keir. Looks like he's getting a lot of runs on the driver in front. There's nowhere to take them, because they know if they go to the outside at this point, probably not going to get anybody else to go with them. And this line is only 7 cars strong. Only 13 cars started this race, so this is the main line on the racetrack. I believe Coates is off the pace and not in a draft. I believe Duranic and Benavidez might be in a pairing. Yes, they are. There's Benavidez and Duranic. And Irwin and Sorum are in a pairing, so that leaves only Tyler Coates without a drafting partner. And it looks like he's about to get picked up by Duranic and Benavidez. But that's the bottom 5. Here's the top 7. As Molyneux gives a bit of a shove to Adam Thompson, trying to keep him out in front as they go through turn 1. Alex Anderson watching in the wings in the number 67. And taking a look at the past finishes, Tyler, as well. Alex Anderson is going for a second win in this portion of the calendar as well. He won back at Talladega, currently sitting P3. Good spot to be, but definitely would rather be at the front because he knows how good Adam Thompson is at commanding a race from the front.
Absolutely. Interesting point. You mentioned smaller field here at Daytona. Only 13 cars started the race. Most interesting to me among the no-shows is Robert Schwenkler, one of our drivers fighting for that championship, wasn't able to make it this week. And that's certainly going to shake things up at the front of the field. It's good news for Trevor Anderson, who sits P5 in this race. And certainly good news for Adam Thompson as well, who can breathe a little easier with one less challenger breathing down his neck.
Truett has to get out of the gas, and you can see just how much as everybody stacks up in front of him. Almost reminds me a little bit, I'll use a real-life comparison and then a sim comparison, the Arkham Menard series when it races at the Daytona International Speedway. Big spoilers, not a ton of horsepower in those things. They get huge runs on the drivers in front. Absolutely nowhere to take them. Moving over, the Arkham Menard series cars here in the iRacing service race a lot like this on plate tracks. They will catch the car in front so quick, but you have nowhere to take it, so you just stay in line, have to get out of the gas. That stacks up everybody back from there. The only driver that is full throttle is Adam Thompson. He's also burning the most fuel at the front as well. That's not too much of a talking point. Everybody will need to make a pit stop. There is no trying to save fuel and make it to the very end of this race. But with 24 to go, everybody needs to start thinking about that fuel window and when they want to pit, because we have seen that could be the difference between a win and a loss, is when that pit stop is called.
Yeah, and you say it's not going to be a factor as far as fuel saving is concerned, but that incrementally longer pit stop for Adam Thompson, it could very well factor in. We're going to most likely see a good chunk of this pack pit at the same time, and it's absolutely not out of the realm of possibility for someone, Ashley Molyneux, for instance, or Alex Anderson, to take just slightly less fuel but have that quicker pit stop put them out in front of Thompson. And we've seen once 2 people get lined up at the front, it's so hard to get past them. Track position is going to be really important after the pit stop. So it's all well and good that Thompson's got the lead now, but if he can't hold it through the pit sequence, he could be in trouble.
On board with Anderson, Slow Motion Motorsports number 67, trying to hold on to a good spot in the draft. P3 for the moment. Thompson, Molyneux, Anderson, Keir, and the other Anderson, Trevor Anderson, currently sits in P5. I want to talk about stats. Let's talk about this one. Trevor Anderson has not had a podium finish since Monza, at the very end of the road course portion of the calendar. Since then, his highest finish has been, I believe, a 4th place finish, or I believe it's actually outside the top 5. It might have been 6th place at the Cedar Lake Speedway in the dirt oval portion of the calendar. I want to talk about a driver who unfortunately has fallen off. It's Trevor Anderson. We heard his confidence when it came to the GT3s and his lack thereof when it came to dirt oval and asphalt oval. But we talk about a driver who was so dominant, 3 wins in a row, plus a 2nd place in the asphalt road portion of the calendar. Hasn't had any of that same luck in the past 7 rounds.
No, he hasn't. And, you know, you sort of expect the guys who are quick on the road courses in the paved portion to be quick in the dirt road portion as well, but there's no guarantee that that's going to carry over. So as much as you'd like to think that Trevor Anderson is going to be more competitive in the next series and the final series on the dirt road portion, he wants to maximize as much as he can from this final paved oval race, because that's what Adam Thompson did in the paved road portion. He wasn't, you know, fighting for wins every week, and he certainly wasn't as quick as Trevor Anderson was, but he maximized his points and his finishes with what he could do in the paved road portion, and it's certainly showing in the championship stand.
Already, just like that, 20 laps to go here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. We'd like to, as always, remind you that the Cross Series League racing season has a ton of sponsors to help put on all the broadcasts live here on Apex Racing TV, starting with Acer Engine Supply. For over 30 years, Acer Engine Supply has been rebuilding and restoring engines of all shapes and sizes in the Colorado Springs area. Today, their attention to detail and commitment to customers remains unchanged. Oh, and wreck on the front straightaway. Scott Benavidez goes around, no caution, but here's the replay coming up. It looks like a self-spin coming. Oh, he was trying to come into the pit lane, Tyler. Did he hit the grass? Did he spin out? Yo, trying to get down in the gears, and a hard hit to the inside wall.
Yeah, I think that was one too many downshifts there for Scott Benavidez, and Bobby Ross is in the grass. So pit stops were starting. I was about to mention we were nearing the halfway point, expected pit stops to start. And now Bobby Ross, was he trying to get to pit lane, or?
I believe
yes, he was. It was a very late cut to pit lane. I think he was seeing the cars ahead of him pit and wanting to not be left out, but that has been incredibly costly for our pole sitter Bobby Ross. He's going to need a caution to get back, have any hope of fighting for a win here.
So with those couple of pit stops there, drivers who have come in on that last lap was Coates and Duranic. Coates is on his way out of the pit lane now. Duranic is staying in, presumably to fix a bit of damage he might have gotten. Benavidez and Darling are also still in the pit lane. Irwin and Sorum have pitted, as well as James Truitt. So the top 6 have technically not come into the pit lane, one of them being Bobby Ross, currently P6, who missed the pit entry. And we'll have to go around and try again. Coming this time by, is anybody going to dive in? Molyneux dives, Alex Anderson dives. It looks like everybody in the lead pack is diving into the pit lane. So these will be the only pit stops they make of the night. Molyneux, first one to come in, but I think they might have sped coming in.
Ashley was majorly sideways and locked up. Adam Thompson played it very safe and ended up the third car in line into pit lane. But everybody was pushing that pit entry except Adam Thompson. And that's fair enough. Adam's, fighting for a championship. He doesn't need to be pushing pit lane entry. But Alex Anderson, we talked about the potential for, he had a wiggle on pit exit. We talked about the potential for Adam Thompson to get jumped in pit lane, and Alex Anderson's done just that, as Ashley Molyneux definitely has a penalty, Trevor Anderson as well. So big, costly penalties there for speeding on pit lane for Ashley Molyneux and Trevor Anderson. And that just leaves Bobby Ross on track yet to pit as he leads it for now. But he will be due into the pits very short. And he's run it out of fuel. So not the day Bobby Ross was hoping for with his second straight pole position. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to convert this one.
So this will turn in to the lead duo. Oh my, I say duo because Scott Benavidez in the middle is a lapped machine, and he's gonna let these guys go by. It looks like he wanted to stay middle of the line, but they're gonna swap. Benavidez moves to the back of the line. Now Anderson and Thompson are the lone two at the front of the field. Here comes Ross into the pit lane. You can see him clutching 300 RPM on the dash, trying to just get into his pit stall to refuel. This is not going to be good for Bobby Ross. Undoubtedly going to go one lap down here. He will reach his pit lane, luckily, and take on some more fuel and get back out on the racetrack. Big question is, will he be able to catch any drivers on the racetrack to keep up with the draft? As they come across the line, 15 to go. But Alex Anderson back to the lead, and Bobby Ross spins it out, coming out of the pit lane.
Yeah, it just goes from bad to worse for Bobby Ross, doesn't it? That is a tough break. But I tell you what, this is it's kind of the catch-22 of these super speedway races. The more people run into issues, the more people there are hoping for a caution. But the more spread out the field gets, the more unlikely it becomes for a caution to be thrown. You just, by virtue of, even if somebody spins, you kind of need somebody going by for the iRacing automated caution system to pick that up. So it's honestly not terribly likely that we're going to see a yellow before the end of this race. And that is trouble for all of those drivers who have found issue in this pit sequence, which is the vast majority of the field.
14 to go. Looking like a bit of deja vu here, Tyler, with the front guys, because we can remember back to the iRacing Super Speedway and to Talladega, who were the drivers in the front of the field towards the end. Alex Anderson, Adam Thompson, still both showing how they are strong when it comes to plate racing. Trevor Anderson, tail end of the field, or tail end of this line, I should say, is the first driver one lap down. Has an opportunity to get his lap back. Not going to be able to do it yet. 5 drivers remain on the lead lap. Adam Thompson just stuck in P2 right now as Alex Anderson pretty comfortably leads the way.
Yeah, and those 5 drivers on the lead lap are all by themselves, although I suppose they could be working with lap traffic. But Kier is a good 8 seconds behind these lead pair. Truitt is a further 5 seconds behind him. And then Coates is almost 20 seconds, more than 20 seconds behind Truitt. So it is looking like a 2-horse race at this point with 13 to go. And as you said, it's the 2 who have dominated this portion of the calendar. So absolutely no surprise that we see them up front heading towards the final stretch of this race.
Well, let's try and thank some sponsors this time. We'll see if anything happens as I go in the middle. And I would like to point out, right as I started saying that, I got a tag in the broadcast chat from my producer, Marco Barbadera, saying to try for a sponsor again. So, apart from that perfect timing, let's see if anything exciting happens when I try and thank the sponsors once again. We'd like to thank the title sponsor of this race, Tamalpais Tanning. They provide full spectrum UV treatments and custom organic sugar-based DHA airbrush solutions. located in Corte Madera, California. They're the only salon in the U.S. to offer these services. Red light therapy and blue light therapy beds are also available with a doctor's recommendation. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/tamtanco. Also, would like to give you the link to go find out more information about Acer Engine Supply. They can restore your old classic, and get your daily driver running again at acerengines.com. Also, like to thank Dangerous. They are a top 3D visualization firm specializing in high-quality 3D product, CAD, package rendering services, and photorealistic product visuals. They specialize in automotive subjects and have extensive industrial and consumer design experience. Let them help you visualize, promote, and communicate your designs. Visit them at dangerous.net. Also, would like to thank Nexus Fabrication. They specialize in metal fabrication and manufacturing for commercial, residential, and custom projects, as well as signage, furniture, and metal repair work. Visit them at nexusfab.com. 10 laps to go from the World Center of Racing. You're tuning into live coverage of the Cross Series League Racing season on Apex Racing TV from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Alex Anderson, Adam Thompson in control of the field. And with 9 to go, this is the main battle on the racetrack, and it's tough to call it really a battle here, Tyler, just because of where they are on the racetrack. They are the top 2 by about 11 seconds, and Adam Thompson at this stage with 9 to go has no interest in trying to get around Alex Anderson just yet.
Yeah, they both know it needs to be done at this point, and that's to say single file here. I'm sure Anderson would probably prefer to be the car behind in this situation. You don't really want to be the car ahead coming to the line. As you mentioned, the runs these cars get, if Thompson can take it to Anderson, and the line remains to be seen. But he does have Trevor Anderson behind him, and you wonder if Trevor Anderson that is going to be willing to help the guy he's fighting in the championship for the championship. So that is an interesting dynamic we've got there. Does Trevor Anderson support his co-named driver who leads this race, or does he support Thompson to go get that win and potentially widen his championship gap significantly?
And with 8 to go, he needs to think about what move he is going to make and when he is going to make it coming up soon. And how much of a help is Trevor Anderson going to be from that 5th spot? He's 1 lap down. And who's at the tail end of this line? Looks like the 407 and Tyler Coates is way back there. He might have an opportunity to catch up to these top 3. And if he does, that'll make it 2 lead lap drivers, 2 lap down drivers. Have to think, Tyler, the lap down drivers might be a little bit apprehensive about helping some of the lead lap drivers, especially to Adam Thompson on Trevor Anderson, because of how close they really are in the points. Trevor Anderson's 3rd in the points. You're gonna get second place with Robert Schwenkler not starting this race. If he helps Adam Thompson to the win, that's just more points for the 24.
Yeah, if you're Anderson, maybe you think about giving Thompson a bit more of a bump draft than he can handle. You know, I don't think that Trevor Anderson wants to gain championship points that way, but you got to think about it at some point. If you're the chasing driver in the championship, you're in a prime spot there to maybe ruffle some feathers and shake up the championship standings. But yeah, I don't know that there's going to be any help given to Thompson, but at the same time, I don't really know that he needs it. He's shown how apt he is at driving these next-gen cars on the super speedways. And with that said as well, he may not even want to go for a win at this point. I mean, I'm sure he does want that win, but he knows where he stands in the championship. He knows that second place is a great result for him heading into the dirt road portion. He may just be content to sit in there behind Alex Anderson to the finish. Remains to be seen.
Should also mention that the driver with the best finishes across a segment of the calendar here in the Cross Series League Racing, they get an extra 10 points as a bonus for having I believe, the most accumulative points over the category. Adam Thompson was the one to get it from the dirt oval portion. He got 10 bonus points. Trevor Anderson from the asphalt road portion of the calendar, he gained 10 points from that. I believe Adam Thompson already has those 10 points basically locked up with his double wins and a second place at Talladega. So he doesn't really need to worry about those bonus points. He's already going to get those points. So he's just looking for a race win. Now let's talk about what this will mean for Alex Anderson. Anderson was able to get the win at Talladega, his first win of the season. Now trying to go for his second. And right now, if a caution is not called, James Keir in third place will not have an opportunity to get this win, which would mean that no matter what happens, we'll have the same 2 winners throughout the asphalt oval portion of the calendar. It'll be either 2 or 3 wins for Adam Thompson, or either 1 or 2 wins for Alex Anderson, depending on who gets back to the checkered flag first. 3 to go from Daytona. 2 horses in the fight, but 4 drivers to race it out at the front of the field. The top 2 are Anderson and Thompson. They're the 67 and the 244 at the front of this line. Trevor Anderson and Tyler Coates watching in the wings in the number 211 and the 407. Who are they going to help as we go to 2 to go this time by?
Yeah, really coming down to it here. And it you have to believe at some point Thompson's going to try something. But it's not probably going to be until that final corner. The typical strategy is to leave a bit of a gap to give yourself a run. We'll see how much of a gap Anderson starts to leave as Kevin Irwin is through the grass here. That will not bring out the yellow, and that'll get him an illegal pit entry, I believe. So day goes from bad to worse for Irwin there. The field now catching Mike Sorum here.
Asking over the iRacing voice chat, leaders, where do you want me? They'll work their way past Mike Sorum. Sorum told to stay high, and he confirms it over the voice chat. So Sorum will go to the outside. That'll put him down to 3 laps down. Thompson looks to the outside. There's the block from Anderson, already getting racy at the front. Here comes Thompson to the outside. Side by side for the race lead at Daytona. The white flag is out. 1 final lap from the World Center of Racing. We go caution free all the way to the end. And Trevor Anderson with a big shove to the 244 of Adam Thompson, able to move him to the front of the field. Now, can Alex Anderson be able to make anything work? Anderson is now 2/10 back. Does he get enough of a draft off of your race leader, Adam Thompson, to be able to make a move? Here comes Alex Anderson. He looks to the outside. Is Anderson gonna go with him? The 2 Andersons running together on the outside for a moment. Trevor Anderson falls back into line. Still side by side. The help to Adam Thompson is gonna give him 3 wins in the asphalt oval portion of the calendar. And Thompson is back to victory lane. 2 in a row for the 244 and 3 in the category of the season.
Very, very interesting. Trevor Anderson decided he wanted Adam Thompson to win, and he made sure he got it. The push to the lead, the push to keep the lead. Trevor Anderson, I don't know if he's looking to curry favor later in the championship, or he and Adam are buddies, or what, but that was it was very clear who Trevor Anderson wanted to win that race, and it was not, unfortunately, Alex Anderson for Alex's sake.
What a finish that was. And what a way to cap off the asphalt oval portion of the calendar for Adam Thompson. Just fantastic for him. iRacing Super Speedway win, Indianapolis Motor Speedway win, and now the Daytona International Speedway. Adam Thompson walks away with the victory. Alex Anderson will finish in P2. James Keir and James Truitt round out your top 4 and all the drivers on the lead lap. Trevor Anderson, Tyler Coates, Ashley Molyneux, Chet Duranic, and Bobby Ross with Scott Benavidez rounding out the top 10. Mike Sorum, Kevin Irwin, and Jaden Darling, the top 13, and all 13 finishers as they came across the start-finish line. We'll be talking with Adam Thompson, Alex Anderson, and James Keir in a moment. But Tyler, what a finish that was from the Daytona International Speedway. It was only 2 drivers fighting towards the end, but side by side off turn 4 for the win. You can't beat that.
No, it was certainly a classic super speedway finish. Really interesting, the dynamic with the lap cars in there. It kind of changed up what we would normally see with the 2 cars by themselves going at it. It was certainly a fun one. Not so fun for people not named Alex Anderson or Adam Thompson. I don't think anyone else had a particularly enjoyable race out there with all the mistakes going on pit road and whatnot. But certainly it was fun for us to watch that finish.
We are going to get to chat with all 3 of your podium finishers, and we start with Adam Thompson, who joins us in the broadcast booth now. Adam, win number 4 on the season, and all 3 of those coming in the asphalt oval portion of the calendar. Your worst finish in this category was P2. Talk really quickly before we go into this race, just these last 4 races and the success that you have had in that 244.
Yeah, man, I don't really know if there is much of a formula here. I've worked a little bit on the setups, tried to share the setups with some of the guys that were in there with the practice sessions with us, and so I really don't know if setup has to do anything with it, or just trying to stay clean, trying to stay single file the whole race, I think was the big thing, especially on these super speedways. The second you get double file is when you start losing the draft and losing, the side draft will really pull you back. So no, I'm just thrilled. This is big help, and huge shout out to Trevor Anderson on this race, just pushing me past Alex.
And in this race, obviously it became a 2-horse fight there closer to the end, but that help from Trevor Anderson pushed you to the front. Were you at all nervous that nobody behind you would go with you and that you'd be stuck alone on the outside, or did you kind of have that know that Trevor Anderson would give you the help there?
I was extremely nervous. If you guys haven't looked at the points, Trevor Anderson is in second place. So I didn't know if he was going to help me. We've kind of playfully talked back and forth when I told him I was coming to get him and just talking some crap, but no, he followed me to the high side, and then he followed me. He stayed with me on the low side. Yeah, huge props to him. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him.
And moving in to the dirt road portion of the calendar, starting at Crandon, going to Bark River, Wild Horse Pass, and Wild West. I am personally a huge fan of short course racing, so I can't wait to be in the booth and watch the rest of the races. What are you looking forward to from your perspective, and can you keep the good finishes rolling in and walk away with the points championship when it's all said and done?
Well, the plan would be to walk away with the points championship. Trevor finished 5th. I took 1st here. So we'll see how that goes with the points. I don't know if I've clinched it yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm really close. But when it comes to the dirt oval side of things, I believe that I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana, but living in Phoenix, Wild Horse Pass. I hope I can do really well on that one. And Crandon with that land rush start is also going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Adam, congratulations on your win here from the Virtual World Center of Racing, and we look forward to seeing you begin the dirt road portion of the calendar in 1 week's time from Virtual Crandon. Congratulations on your win.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Great to hear from Adam Thompson, and we transition over to Alex Anderson, standing by with Tyler Newitt. You finished P2 tonight.
Sorry, Alex. I was just gonna say you just didn't have the help there at the end. You played your cards right. You came out of pit lane ahead. Just didn't have the draft partner there at the end.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, obviously I'm happy I got P2, third podium of the asphalt ovals, but sucks leading all those laps and then just losing it with 2 to go. But hey, that's plate racing. Sucks that Trevor didn't help me get back past Adam when he got past me, but hey, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna pack my stuff up, head to the dirt road portion, and go have some fun.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about those pit stops for a second because we saw a number of drivers penalized, and you came in pretty hot and were able to grab the lead on the exit. But how sketchy was it in the pit entry in these next-gen cars? It seemed like a lot of people were overextending themselves on the brake.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. The brakes on the next gens, they're hard to get right. I was terrified coming to pit road. I was like, oh, I hope I don't speed. And then when I didn't speed and I got to my pit stall, I was like, oh god, I cannot slide through my box. Thankfully, we made pit road speed and we got into the box. That allowed us to get onto the track in front of everybody else. And yeah, we got to lead all those laps and get a P2 when it was all said and done.
Yeah, and you mentioned the dirt road portion coming up. Is that a part of the calendar you're looking forward to in terms of expecting to be competitive, or just looking to have some fun?
Oh, I'm all looking for fun when it comes to the Pro 4 trucks. I mean, I've done official races in those. I've never been too good in them, so I'm just looking to go in there, just have some fun, have some close racing. Hopefully maybe get some solid finishes here and there, but yeah, I'm just looking to have some fun with the other guys in here, looking for some good racing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fair enough, and we look forward to that as well with you there. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go here, Alex?
Probably Adam Thompson and Ashley Molyneux, because they've always been such a huge help to me in this league. I'm not gonna lie, they've provided me with all the setups that I've had ever since the dirt ovals started. So they've been a huge help to me. They've helped me get my my third place, my second place, and my win at Talladega. So just big thanks to them, and looking forward to working with them even more for the rest of this season and next season as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alex, and congratulations on your second place and on leading all those laps. It was a great race, and we'll see you on the dirt.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So we transition from your P2 finisher Alex Anderson to your P3 finisher James Kieran, the 88. Joins us in the broadcast booth now. James, consistent night for you, always up there at the front. How was the racing tonight in these next-gen cars around the Daytona International Speedway?
You know, it's a little nerve-wracking when the lapped car won't be a lapped car, but I managed to stay behind and team up with Ashley, so big thank you to her. Yeah, it was a hell of a race. I'm shaking.
And at the end of that one, of course, you were a little bit far off from that lead pack, but still a third place finish. And we've seen a good bit of you, of course, this season, but never up in the podium spots. Is this going to be a little bit of a confidence booster as we go into the last category of the season?
You know, the trucks are going to be a wild card, so I hope I can keep this trend going. That's all I've got to say.
Well, going into the truck portion of the calendar with the off-road trucks and the dirt road portion, Crandon in 1 week's time, do you think you can use that bit of a wild cardness like plate racing is here at Daytona? A lot of more of an equalizer and a bit of a wild card. Do you think you can walk away with that win and grab that first one of the season for you?
Well, you've nailed exactly where I'm going to be aiming, man. That's the goal. Keep practicing and stay up here in the spot where I'm supposed to be.
James, thank you so much for joining us here post-race on Apex Racing TV, and congratulations on your first podium finish of the season here from Virtual Daytona.
Thank you very much. Just want to give a shout out to my dad, who's a consistent watcher, and thank you for Josh, Marco, Tyler for always pronouncing my name right. It's appreciated.
Thank you very much. That is James Keir, and finishing out the post-race, Tyler, just great racing from the Virtual Daytona International Speedway. And as we move into the dirt road portion of the calendar, of course, we're basically throwing everything that we saw on asphalt road, asphalt oval, and dirt oval behind us because it is completely different racing. It is short course racing. And if anybody has ever seen short course racing on the iRacing service, you will know that it is wild, it is chaotic, and it is, like everyone said, a wild card. So interesting to see if any of the drivers who were strong in dirt oval, Adam Thompson was strong, Ashley Molyneux was strong, if that's going to carry over or if we're going to see a lot more of the road course guys like Trevor Anderson, maybe Tyler Campbell coming back, maybe drivers like Robert Schwenkler had some consistent finishes as well, if they'll be the strong ones when it comes to dirt road.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be everything up in the air, including the trucks, of course. I expect no less than one truck upside down at the first race. That's just the way it goes with those guys. And we've seen, especially with the lack of cautions in these paved oval races, these guys race hard, but they race clean, which is very necessary going into the Pro 4 trucks, because there's going to be some rubbing and some flipping and some jumping, and it's going to be a lot of fun regardless of who is strong.
One of the drivers, if they are to make at least one start, or if they make all 4 starts in the dirt road portion of the calendar, gotta watch Josh Klog, because he is a very fast racer when it comes to iRacing Rallycross. I'm not 100% sure if he is in the World Championship right now. I don't believe so, but he was trying to qualify for the World Championship in iRacing Rallycross, so he knows what he's doing when it comes to dirt road. Big question is if he makes any starts, if he is going to be one of the ones to beat. But as we get ready for the dirt oval portion of the calendar, we would like to thank a handful of sponsors that help to put on Cross Series League Racing live on Apex Racing TV, starting with Lake Town Creations. Family owned and operated, Lake Town Creations builds custom, heartfelt creations using wood and other materials for your home or office. We can turn your vision into reality. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaketownCreations. Also sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They are a nonprofit, volunteer-fueled organization dedicated to finding cures for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and improving the quality of life for children and adults affected by these diseases. Visit them at crohnscolitisfoundation.org. Finally, Cross Series League Racing is sponsored by Shears Salon. Located in Grand Forks, North Dakota, Shears Salon. Trust your peers and come to Shears. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Samantha@Shears Salon. That'll do it for our live coverage here from iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway. Race control tonight was provided by 24/7, and for Adam Thompson and everybody at Cross Series League Racing, for our producer tonight, Marco Barbanera, and for Tyler Newitt joining me in the booth, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us for the Asphalt Oval portion of the calendar in Cross Series League Racing. We'll see you for the inaugural round of the Dirt Road portion of the calendar from virtual Crandon.